One more drama in Washington over the weekend as President Trump accuses former President Barack Obama of wiretapping Trump Towers during the election season. We have NKU political science professor Dr. Ryan Salzman here to discuss what could happen moving forward. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. This investigation now has to be done because President Trump has made this accusation, and it goes on record as without having any definitive evidence.
Correct. There's no evidence that he was wiretapped. That being said, there may be dozens of wiretaps going on right now of which we have no evidence of any of them. But there's an important distinction to be made here. There are legal wiretaps and there are illegal wiretaps. It seems that what Trump is accusing President Obama of is an illegal wiretap where President Obama were to pick up the phone and say, I want you to tap him because we're going to get him. If that were to happen, then of course that'd be problematic. But the reality is that most of these wiretaps come from one of up to 11 government agencies. When President Trump refers to the intelligence community, that is not a specific person. It's not a specific agency. It's up to 11 agencies that have some umbrella agencies over them. Someone within one of those agencies decides that there could be a problem, seeks authority from the FISA court, which is about foreign intelligence, and then that court has to approve it. So it's quite a process, and it probably wouldn't involve President Obama at all.
Okay, now looking at Trump's perspective, why would he go ahead and make these accusations? Obviously, it is his truth. He feels like perhaps this has happened to him. But there are other people who say that he is raising a smokescreen, if you will, because of other issues that are going on with the investigation into Russia interfering with the election.
That could be it. It's hard to know what the president is thinking, but it does seem awfully convenient that a lot of these off-the-cuff statements have come in the immediate aftermath of something being uncovered that's not good for his administration. Most recently, that was Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, recusing himself from any investigations having to do with the election. And then all of a sudden, there's this accusation being made. A couple weeks ago, there were some things that weren't good for the administration, and he makes that off-the-cuff remark about Sweden. And so it does seem like there's a pattern emerging here, but it's really hard to look inside the president's brain for sure.
Okay, so let's say there is a pattern emerging and Donald Trump is making these comments or accusations. What is the harm in that? Is there any?
Well, the harm could be wasted time, by, if the Intelligence Committee of the House of Representatives now has to take their time and their staff's time to investigate these things, our intelligence community in general, if they're having to take their time. Otherwise, it's probably just a prestige issue for the former president and the current president. Is the current president undermining his legitimacy if a real crisis emerged? Is the former president being unnecessarily dinged because of that? Those aren't going to be, they're not going to have a lot of gravity for our country, but they could add up over time. And I think one of the big questions coming out right now among commentators like myself is what happens when a real crisis emerges? North Korea is shooting off missiles somewhere. What happens when something is really going on? Will the majority of the American public discount what the president says in a moment of real crisis? That's where we would have to be concerned, and we would look to these statements as being causal of that.
Well, I think wrapping that way back, I can go back to that fable or that storytelling about the boy who cried wolf. That's kind of what you're insinuating.
That's exactly it. That's exactly the concern, that when a real problem emerges, nobody will believe you.
All right, well, we'll be seeing what happens ahead. We'll be looking at the travel ban this week and a few other things, so we'll talk to you soon.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you. We're going